WNEM TV5 Evening Extra is brought to you by the Law Office of Carol Thomas.
Today, I want you to hear directly from me that I am suspending my campaign for governor. The time for me to serve in that role may come, but now is not that time. At heart, I'm a public servant. That's why today, I am declaring my candidacy for Secretary of State of Michigan.
Michigan's race for governor dwindles. Today, Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist announced that he is suspending his campaign for Michigan's top job. He now has his sights on being Michigan's next Secretary of State. TV5's James Felton spoke to a retired political science professor to get his thoughts on this move.
I'm not too surprised in some ways because his fundraising wasn't going well.
Paul Rosicki, retired professor of political science at Mott Community College, talking about Lieutenant Governor Garland Gilchrist suspending his campaign for governor. In a video, he said that the time for me to serve in that role may come, but now is not that time. Gilchrist is running for Secretary of State.
It's not unheard of for people to take a look at one race, decide things aren't going as well as they thought, and then shift to something else. You're certainly seeing people run for the state Senate and then drop back and run for the state house, that kind of thing.
Rosicki tells me an important event on the horizon likely played a role in Gilchrist's decision to make this move now.
In April, I think April 19th, I believe, the Democrats are having their endorsement convention for things like the Secretary of State. So if he's going to get in line for that, it's time to make the shift. So I think from his point of view, it's a wise move, but it does present some issues for Democrats as they kind of gather together and decide who's going to run for governor.
The biggest issue, Rosicki says, is the loss of Gilchrist's appeal to African-American voters in the gubernatorial election. As for the Secretary of State race, Rosicki believes Gilchrist is a serious contender for the position.
Barb Byram is currently probably the major front runner for the Secretary of State's job, and whether or not his shift will bring enough votes across, my hunch right now is that I think it just might, in large part because Democrats are going to need to appeal to African-American voters, and they really don't want to freeze Gilchrist out entirely. So my guess, and it's just off the top of my head at the moment, is that I think he may have a bit of an edge come the April endorsement convention.
James Felton, WNEM, TV5.
There are several other candidates running for the Secretary of State. The Democratic nomination includes Ingham County Clerk Barb Byram, former State Senator Adam Ollier, Deputy Secretary of State Agogo Adavie, and former State Lottery Commissioner Susanna Shkreli. The Republicans running for Secretary of State are Clarkson School Board member Amanda Love, Macomb County Clerk Tony Ferlini, and Commerce Township resident Monica Yatuma. New tonight, the city manager of Bay City is announcing her retirement. In a letter to city commissioners, Dana Muscat says her retirement will begin March 12th. Muscat says that at this stage in her career, she believes it's time to move on to the next chapter. In part, she says the decision wasn't made lightly and that her role with the city has been an honor. Muscat says she is willing to meet in person at the commissioner's convenience to discuss the transition and to help ensure a smooth and successful process in the hiring of a new city manager.
And temperatures around mid-Michigan tonight still around the freezing mark or a little bit above. A nice start to our week with many of us getting some sunshine for today. Temperatures as we hit the early parts of this evening at around 34 in Bay City and Standish, 35 in MBS, 33 in Flint, and 37 in Mount Pleasant. Our temperatures at least about 5 to 10 degrees warmer than this time yesterday over most of the area. But there is one little catch. Our wind chills are down in the 20s. So that has been a factor pretty much all day today. Our winds are southwesterly, sustained between about 10 and 15 in most areas, and it looks like they're gusting even stronger around 20 to 25. But those are coming down a little bit, but they will not relax completely tonight. So with our clear skies right now, you would think we would fall off a little bit faster, but we're not, and we're likely clouding up as we head towards the overnight hours. And so with the cloud cover and the southwesterly winds, it does look like we'll be on the warmer side of average as we head through the overnight. Your first alert, pinpoint Doppler radar is dry. Sky tracker not showing much around the region either. As we go through the overnight hours and into the day tomorrow, we likely will stay dry in most areas. But as we approach the lunch hour, there may be some rain or snow showers to deal with. The forecast for that, plus a cool down later this week coming up.
Thank you, Chris. During these cold winter months, utility bills can pack a punch, but Consumers Energy is trying to offset those rising costs. The company is investing $5 million through direct assistance, community partnerships, and programs designed to help families manage energy costs. The money is funded by Consumers Energy, not customers' bills, and will be distributed to agencies that connect directly with people in communities across the state. In our area, that includes the Greater Flint Health Coalition and Mid-Michigan Community Action. If you're looking for help or to connect with a nonprofit in your area, head to this story on WNEM.com. Expecting mothers and those with newborns in parts of Saginaw County can now sign up for RX Kids. The program officially launched today in the city of Saginaw, along with Bridgeport and Buena Vista townships. Expectant moms, at least 16 weeks pregnant or with a baby born in the new year, can receive $1,500 during pregnancy and $500 per month for the first 6 months of their child's life. To sign up, just go to the hot link section of WNEM.com. A historic Grand Blanc Township estate is getting a major makeover. The former Ocker Mansion on Belsey Road is starting a new chapter where newlyweds will begin to write their own stories. TV5's Zane Omer explains.
Once a private estate, now a place to say I do. The former Ocker Mansion is being transformed into a wedding venue.
I've always wanted to do a wedding venue, and this was kind of like the gold standard of what a wedding venue could have, in our opinion. It had the property, it had the architecture.
Built in 1971 by Grand Blanc developer Eldon Ocker, the former Ocker Mansion, now named Crewwood, will soon welcome the sounds of wedding bells.
It used to be the master bedroom of the house. We converted it into a ballroom. And we're in the center of 50 acres, and we're hoping that this is going to be the center of our wedding event space.
Chelsea Welch and Corey Cunningham are the co-owners, remodeling the 20,000 square foot estate. The pair from Grand Blanc purchased it in September 2023 after years of eyeing it as the perfect plot for couples to make their vows.
It's like a childhood dream. That's the coolest part. My parents still live right down the street, and we drove by every day. He rode the bus by every day, and it's kind of been something that the community has talked about and loved for so many years.
There have been some hurdles in making that dream a reality. The residential property needed to be rezoned for commercial use, and issues with the structure, such as the framing and plumbing, needed to be gutted and redone.
The entire building was covered in fabric, so all the interior, so the walls were kind of hidden. So anytime we opened a wall, we would find leaky pipes, we'd find framing that needed to be fixed.
But as they make updates, Crewwood wants to honor its original character.
Yeah.
Plaster ceilings throughout the house, so this one up here in the ballroom is going to stay, and it's all hand-painted plaster. A lot of fireplaces that are staying. We have staircases that are staying. Kind of have to try to build a shell that feels very old world European, but all of the kind of the interior workings have to be very up to code and very modern.
And they hope a place, once hidden behind gates, can soon be a destination, drawing people in.
It's kind of the people's biggest celebration in their lives, so that we get to share that with them. We're really excited for it to be just this wonderful, happy, beautiful place.
Yeah.
Weddings are starting to be booked for as early as this August. The owners plan to continue sharing updates on renovations as the process continues on their social media pages. Reporting in Grand Blanc Township, Zane Omer, WNEM TV5.
The Charles Stewart Mott Foundation celebrates 100 years of giving, how it plans to improve the life of children in Flint over the next decade. Plus, hearings begin over the lawsuit that claims Michigan bears some responsibility for the flooding of Gladwin and Midland counties in 2020. What happened today in court? After more than 5 years, victims of the Edenville Dam failure are getting their day in court. Flood victims say they want the state of Michigan to be held accountable for what they say is the state's role in the disaster. Today, the trial at the Court of Claims in Grand Rapids began with opening statements by attorneys from both sides representing the flood victims and the state of Michigan. TV5's James Felton reports.
I think the case really comes down to a basic question, and that is why the defendants raised Wixom Lake when it was unsafe.
Jason Thompson, an attorney representing victims of the Edenville Dam failure in 2020, says the state of Michigan's decision to raise water levels on Wixom Lake before the May 2020 flood did not protect lives and property downstream.
If you reduce the pressure on the dam in such a situation, you reduce the risk that it's going to fail.
Thompson said the raised water level coupled with a heavy rain event led to the Edenville Dam's demise. But Nathan Gamble, an attorney for the state, disagrees.
The independent forensic team did an analysis, and they actually concluded that pre-lowering Wixom Lake, quote, would very likely have been too small to prevent the dam failure.
Gamble went on to say the state of Michigan had no control over the Edenville Dam in the first place. The dam was owned by Boyce Hydro.
It was private property. It was surrounded by a fence. It was operated by a private company. No Boyce Hydro employee took direction from or reported to any state agency.
He says for that reason, the judge will rule in favor of the state of Michigan.
This is not about whether this was a tragedy that happened. It did. But the evidence shows that the state of Michigan is not responsible for it.
Thompson feels differently and believes the evidence will support a decision for the flood victims.
Whether it was to appease property owners, whether it was to appease the DNR colleagues, whether it was to further a plan to get Boyce out and get in the Four Lakes Task Force, I don't know. But one thing's for sure, it wasn't to protect the public. They paid the price.
Ultimately, it will be up to the court to decide. Stay with TV5 on air and online for updates. A former Genesee Township police officer has been charged for his actions after a car crash involving one of his relatives. According to Michigan State Police, Kenneth John Chase was employed as a police officer when a relative crashed last May in Mount Morris Township. The relative was given a traffic citation, and it was determined that they were at fault. However, state police say Chase disagreed with that and decided to do his own investigation. Chase went to the home of the other driver and asked them to turn in their key fob, which they refused to do. He then gave a tow company a fake subpoena so it would hold on to the vehicle. Chase is charged with misconduct in office, which is a felony. After months in the hospital, Gia Putman is back home. Back in September, 3 Putman family members were killed in a car crash and several others suffered serious injuries. The Putman family posted on Facebook saying the doctors determined Gia could safely continue her recovery at home under medical care and that she would start neuro rehab today. Gia's grandparents and her aunt were killed in that September crash when a semi-driver drove through a stop sign and hit the Putman's SUV on Deckerville Road. The driver, Pavel Shutkin, was sentenced to a year in jail with a credit for 74 days served. 100 years ago, Charles Stewart Mott endowed the foundation with his name with $320,000 worth of GM stock, launching decades of philanthropy. Today, the C.S. Mott Foundation celebrates its centennial with its plans to help the children of Flint and other causes for the next 10 years. TV5's Zain Omer talked to the foundation's president and CEO to learn more about its mission and goals as it marches through time.
Mott Foundation believes in C.S. Mott's original quote of saying that every person is in kind of informal partnership with the community. As the community succeeds, so does the individual. As the individual succeeds, so does the community.
2026 marking a major milestone for the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation.
It marks 100 years of the foundation supporting the Flint community. It marks 100 years of the family's involvement in the Mott Foundation.
Over the last century, the foundation has granted nearly $4.5 billion to charitable efforts supporting schools, clean water, youth programs, and more. Looking into the future, President and CEO Ridgway White says their new strategic plan calls for a total of $2 billion in investments over the next decade, with 60% of those funds focused in Flint.
Our Focus on Flint initiatives allows us to hear annually what residents' priorities are It's focused on what we hear from our grantees and others and bringing all that information together to really focus on those priorities and hopefully continue to improve Flint and make Flint a great place to live.
The 10-year plan calls for up to $370 million to support education in Flint, including up to $100 million for school facilities, up to $100 million to reduce childhood poverty in Flint, $200 million to support youth engagement at the national level, up to $40 million to support access to justice globally, and up to $100 million toward One Water Solutions to make water clean, safe, and accessible.
Flint still has some of the most expensive water of any city of its size in the country, and that's not okay. And so we want to make sure that if we're enabling or working towards a new national One Water policy that addresses affordability in addition to source and scarcity and all of those things.
And when people look back on the foundation's work in 2036,
I'm hopeful that it moves the needle not only in our hometown of Flint, but in communities across the nation and globe.
In Flint, Zane Omer, WNEM TV5.
The foundation will announce specific centennial grants and community events in the coming days, weeks, and months. White also says 70% of the grant making is planned, allowing for flexibility with the rest of the dollars to adjust to changing needs of the community over the next decade.
A look outside at US 10 in Bay County tonight. Everything seems to be moving as you would expect. The flags blowing in the wind, though. It's been a breezy day, and that will likely be the case the next couple of days as well. As we head through tonight, those winds will help us out quite a bit. The southwesterly flow will likely keep our low temperatures from falling much past the upper 20s, if you even get into the upper 20s at all. I think there will be some low 30s that survive the duration of tonight, and that's around 10 degrees above average, at least in many areas, if not around 15 degrees above average. Your highs tomorrow also around the upper 30s to low 40s, and that's important, especially in these areas up north where precipitation could start just a little bit sooner. I think with temperatures falling close to that freezing mark or a little bit below tonight, we will have to be careful for any temperatures that drop to that mark tomorrow morning. That may see wet weather early in the day. I think it'll hold off, but if it starts a little sooner, we could have a brief period of freezing drizzle. I don't think it will be anything significant, but something we'll be watching carefully nonetheless. As we go through tonight, expect those wind gusts to be around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Tomorrow, likely picking back up between 20 and 30 miles per hour in the morning, and then likely 30 to 40 miles per hour at times in the afternoon. I think similar conditions expected on Wednesday, maybe just a touch lighter than this, but it will be pretty breezy this week, especially the next couple of days. Your first alert, pinpoint Doppler radar, also dry tonight. Sky Tracker, not really showing much of anything, but later tonight, we'll likely see clouds increase, and again, in conjunction with those southwesterly winds, we will see temperatures only drop so far. Here's what I'm talking about tomorrow morning, though. We've got temperatures that are pretty close to the freezing mark to the north. If anything can start relatively soon, there's that small window, but things warm up pretty quickly, even as maybe some snowflakes try to mix with some of that rain. Temperatures primarily between the middle and upper 30s. A few low 40s will sneak in there at times as well. And you'll notice the coverage of any wet weather. It's pretty scattered. It's not terribly heavy, so I think the wind is something that's going to be a bigger impact for most of us tomorrow rather than the wet weather. As far as your long-term temperature outlook, it's warm on the front end this week, but we will have some cooler days later this week, and that's likely to continue into the extended as well. This is January 17th through 21st, a much better chance of having below average temperatures during that time, so I think we could be seeing some days in the teens. We're also expecting a more active pattern as we head towards the weekend. Multiple waves of wet weather are expected to come through from Friday into Saturday and even into Sunday. And while neither of these is going to be a major system, Saturday looks like the drier day of the three. I think we'll chip away at some snow accumulations over time, and it's possible we pick up a couple of inches of snow by the time early next week comes around. Your temperatures will also be in the 20s during that stretch, likely another day in the teens early next week, and we'll have a chance for some falling temperatures on Wednesday, starting in the 30s, finishing in the teens.
Thank you, Chris. More local news. Communities can now apply for money for their county fair. The program from the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development offers grants of up to $100,000 for building and infrastructure upgrades or improvements that enhance the productivity and longevity of fairground facilities. The department is also offering livestock and commodity exposition competitive grants. The program offers up to $25,000 to fairs and festivals for activities including promotions, awards, and premiums. Applications are due by March 18th. For more information on both grants and to apply, head to our hot link section of WNEM.com. All new tonight, nearly 24 Buddhist monks are taking their mission on the road. Their purpose in tonight's Can't Miss Moment on the News at 10 on the Great Lakes Sports and Entertainment Network. Then on TV5 News at 11, alternative plans ahead for students at Bendel Middle School after part of the roof collapsed last week. Also at 11, several homes damaged after a car hit a speed bump and went airborne. The wild crash caught on camera.
All right, one last look at your forecast here. I think we'll have a chance at some rain and snow showers tomorrow. Not everybody will see one. And then we'll have some scattered snow showers throughout the day on Wednesday. Also falling temperatures. The morning will be more mild than the afternoon and evening, and then a couple of days in the teens and plenty of days in the 20s later this week.
January in Michigan.
Yes.
It is back. All right, thank you, Chris. Thank you for watching WNEM Evening Extra. Keep up with us as the news breaks online, on our app, or on social media. We'll see you on TV5 at 11.